Okay, the final part of this chapter is looking at perpendicular gradients. Now, if you've got a line which goes up in this direction, and then you've got a perpendicular line, i.e. that there you got right angles, then this line here is what you call the normal. So you've got a line which is at right angles to an existing line, that is called the normal line. And there's one key difference, and that's obviously the gradient. And there's two sort of real points for working out the gradient. You know that the gradient of a line, so again, to go down in your notebook, gradient of a line multiplied by the perpendicular gradient equals -1. So if we have a look at this one here, 3 times by the perpendicular gradient equals -1. Because in this question you've got to work out the gradient of the line which is perpendicular to the lines with these gradients. So 3 times something is -1. So what we do is we just flip it upside down and then change the sign. So if you flip 3 upside down, you're going to get a third. Then because it's positive, it's going to be -1/3. So this gradient goes to -1/3. Similarly with this one, 1/2 times by something equals -1. So you flip upside down, so that's going to be 2/1. Then we change the sign to -2/1. And obviously 2/1 just is 2. That's going to be -2. Next one, we've got -2/5 times by something equals -1. So what we're going to do is we're going to flip it upside down, so that's going to be 5/2. And whereas this one here is negative, we flip the sign, so it's going to be a positive 5/2. This is easy as that, really. So if ever they start talking about finding the equation of the normal, what you'd need to do is you need to work out the gradient of the line, and then flip upside down and then change the sign. Okay, so let's have a look at this one. Show that this is a showed up one. And when it says show that, you have to be quite explicit with how you show that. So show that the line y equals 3x plus 4 is perpendicular to this line. So we should know that if they're perpendicular, the gradients need to multiply together to make -1. So this one here, the gradient equals 3. It's not straightforward to see the gradient of this one. What we need to do is we need to rearrange it. So x plus 3y minus 3 equals 0. And then what we do in order to work out the gradient of this line is we rearrange it to get y equals. So 3y equals -x plus 3 by getting this as this onto the other side. We then divide by 3 to get y equals -1/3 x plus 1. In fact, sometimes if you divide that by 3, you'd get y equals -x/3 plus 1. You'll see it written like that. -1/3 x and -x/3 are exactly the same thing. So if you had to say what the gradient of this one is, that's going to be -1/3. So either way, the gradient of this one, m equals -1/3. So to show they're perpendicular, you'd say that 3 times by -1/3 equals -1. Therefore, because these 3 dots mean therefore perpendicular. Fantastic. Okay, I think I've only got a couple of questions left. So work out whether or not these pairs of lines are parallel, perpendicular, or neither. So parallel means that the gradients are the same. Perpendicular means that the gradients are multiplied together to make -1, and neither is going to be neither. Let's have a look at this one. For A, try that again. The gradient of this line here is -2. The gradient of the next one is -2. So the gradients are the same. So gradients are the same. therefore parallel. They're going in the same direction. So have a look at this one. We can't tell what the gradients are just by looking at them. And the most common mistake is to think the gradient of this one is 3 and the gradient of this one is 1. Just because they're the numbers in front of the x. Don't make that mistake. It's got to be in the form y equals. So if we've got 3x minus y minus 2 equals 0, let's just get this onto the other side by adding it. So that's going to be 3x minus 2 equals y. So there we can see that the gradient, now it's in the form y equals, the gradient here equals 3. Let's do the same for this one. So x plus 3y minus 6 equals 0. 3y equals minus x plus 6. Y equals minus 1/3 or minus x over 3 plus 2. So here we can see that the gradient, now we've got it in y equals something, equals minus 1/3. So then we can see that we've got the gradient of 3, gradient of minus 1/3, so 3 times by minus 1/3 equals minus 1, therefore perpendicular. Okay, so the next one, the gradient of this one, which is m equals 1/2. Let's do this one. So we've got 2x minus y plus 4 equals 0. Let's get this on the other side. So we'll have y equals 2x plus 4. So the gradient of this one is 2. Now notice that you do 2 times, so if you multiply the gradients together, 2 times 1/2 equals 1, but doesn't equal minus 1. So therefore, neither. Okay, and then the last thing we're going to do is we're going to have a look at this one. So find an equation of the line that passes through 3 minus 1 and is perpendicular to this thing here. So as soon as it says find the equation of the line, y minus y1 equals m x minus x1. We've got a point, so we've got x1, y1 there. And then perpendicular gradient to this one. So 2 times by something equals minus 1. You don't always need to do this. Once you get reasonably fair that you can just do it quite quickly. So the gradient you need to flip upside down, and then you need to change the sign. So flip 2 upside down, and change the sign. It's going to be minus 1/2. So we've got m equals minus 1/2. Then we've got y minus y1, which is minus 1, so it's going to be y plus 1 equals m, which is minus 1/2 x minus x1, and x1 is 3. So you've got y plus 1 equals minus 1/2 x plus 3 over 2. You're going to take away 1. So y equals minus 1/2 x plus 1/2. Alternatively, when you get to this point here, if it asks for it in the form ax plus by plus c equals 0. So this is the final answer. But you could also write it in this format here. And if they want it in this format here, then what you do is when you get to this step, you get rid of this divided by 2. So you multiply that by the left-hand side, everything on the left-hand side. It's going to be 2 lots of y plus 1 equals minus 1 lots of x minus 3. And then you'd multiply out the brackets, so that's going to be 2y plus 2 equals minus x plus 3, because of course you've got the minus times the minus, so that's going to be plus. So then if you get everything onto the left-hand side, because here we've got minus x, let's make that positive, so that's going to be x plus 2y minus 1 equals 0. And these are exactly the same equations. Either one of those would be the correct answer. Okay, so now you've done that, that actually rounds off the coordinate geometry chapter. Okay, so feel free to have a look at exercise 5E and then the mixed exercise 5F.